we go offline again just to talk again about something.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, everybody, yo, this is a Black Manga Critic. Also, Nakamanga is back. We are back with the Yu Yu Hakusho Deadman Wonderland discussion streams that we do. We have 2 parts to the stream. I have a playlist set up on my channel. So if you want to go check that out, you know, at some point after this stream, feel free to do so. Also, feel free to subscribe to Nakamanga if you haven't already. Nakamanga, if you want to put your link to your channel in the live chat, you can do that. You know, and I'll put the link in the description box once the video is uploaded and everything like that. But yeah, so basically we're going to be talking about, you know, again, right, Yu Yu Hakusho Deadman Wonderland. Nakamanga had to read up to chapter 32 for Yu Yu Hakusho, and I had to read up to chapter 11 of Deadman Wonderland, but I was terrible, so I read chapter 12. So you know, stuff happens, but that's all right. It's all right. It's no biggie. It's no biggie. Okay, so I can't remember which one of us started first. I feel like you started first. I feel like
last time we started with Deadman Wonderland, I think.
Yeah, last time I think we started with Deadman Wonderland. So if you want to start with Yu Yu Hakusho, because I think more people have read and watched Yu Yu Hakusho than Deadman Wonderland. Although I'm pretty sure there are quite a few people who have read and watched both, or just watched both, or just read both.
Yeah, they're not like big unknown series, you know. It's like they're just quite big, and I guess not a lot of people know them. It's just we didn't read either, you know. So I guess we are kind of the bad people here. But okay, so for Yu Yu Hakusho, let's start with recap. We had Anmo Jr. and Botan who gave a mission to Yusuke, of course, and they told him, yeah, there's some big kind of evil demon. We need to find him, but he's hiding. And also at the same time, we had a new character introduced, which was Genkai, the old woman, I guess. And she was is a master of the powers they use, spiritual power they use. And yeah, she was
give me 1 sec. I did order some food, so just give me 1 sec. Just kind of keep going on with the, with the recap. No, I'll be right back. Give me like 2 seconds.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, for everyone who's still is still there, so Genkai was trying to find new students, or was accepting students actually, which was like kind of a new thing. And she was holding like some exams or tests to see who she will accept. And we had like kind of exams which reminded me of Hunter x Hunter, but I know Yu Yu Hakusho was before Hunter x Hunter, so I should say Hunter x Hunter should make me remember about Yu Yu Hakusho, I guess. But they were super similar, and it's like kind of funny and unexpected, like tests, super random, but they just experienced. So the first test was actually just like a poll. Everyone got like piece of paper and an envelope, I guess, and they just had to check out the paper and see if it's red. But the paper was actually like magical paper, so if you had like spiritual power above one specific level, your paper was red. Yeah, no problem. And yeah, so when the paper was red, they could advance to the next round. The next round, the second round, was some kind of arcade game. Like they had many arcade machines to test out the different types of, welcome back, the different types of spiritual powers. So they had like karaoke to like the mindful powers, I guess, and like a boxing machine for the strength, for the raw power, the strength, and what was this third one? I forgot. There's also some stupid arcade game. I don't know. And yeah, so actually, we could see here, which was interesting for me. We could see that Yusuke and Kuwabara, we could see after the chapter, there was only like 8 people advancing. No, not yet. But we could see their power levels in the different kind of different kind of types of spiritual power, and so we had a way to compare the characters, who is more strong in which way. So that was super interesting for me to see that Kuwabara is also really strong, but not like the same weight for Yusuke. And yeah, so it's not really like big reveal or something, but it was interesting to see like numbers, like have some numbers on the black and white, and to see. So the next one was super similar to Hunter x Hunter. It was like yeah, let's just run through the forest to the hill, because Gon and Killua also, no, not Killua, but Kurapika and Leorio.
Oh yeah.
Also go through the woods to the mountain, and there was like some labyrinth, or it was kind of difficult to get through, and yeah, I thought it was really funny that Yusuke just said, yeah, I just ran through, and he encountered this super strong bad guy or the bats, and he just punched his way through and brought him in with him. So, oh, you mean this guy? Yeah, I beat him up. So yeah, after this third exam, we only had like 8 people left, and that's when the tournament started, like kind of tournament, I guess. And we have like a KO elimination system, and that's when like the real fight started, where Kuwabara basically could defeat his opponent by breaking his wooden sword and taking just a piece of it and building a spiritual power sword, I don't know, and using it. So we have like, and also what was her name again? Genkai was really surprised to see he can manifest a sword to counter like physical stuff, and yeah, and Yusuke, I forgot Yusuke's first fight actually. It was also like kind of I thought it was something about he couldn't shoot, and he had like to trick the enemy into to get a clean shot at him. And yeah, that's somehow we could see again. And it's like the fights before. It's like Yusuke can't use his power straight away, and was straight to shoot at the enemy. So he has to be kind of smart about how to use it and use some kind of tactics against the enemy. It's basically the same principle from before, but here's just a different kind of tactic there. Yeah, then also the other people also had some small fights. I thought it was really good to have like short fights and not to prolong it a lot, So it was like from chapter 25 to 32, everything. So it was really short, brief, and then interesting. We got introduced to so much stuff, and in such a short time, and we had interesting fights. So it was really well laid out arc for me. Okay, so the other people also could win, so 2 people, and it was so the Yusuke fight was against the monk, I guess.
Is that a monk?
I don't know.
Which one are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like difficult to remember, to be honest.
Are you talking about it's Rando?
Rando. Let me see. No, I'm not sure, to be
honest. Is it a Shorin? Is it like a little guy?
No, the little guy was against there was Kuwabara who fought against the little guy.
Okay.
And he actually lost. He got shrunken down and almost crushed to death, So that's where Kuwabara lost, and the small guy went to the finals. And then, well, Yusuke also won his fight and went to the finals. And later on, they could fight. And actually, the other guy in the finals was like the evil spirit they were searching for. So that's when like big fight happened. And also again, like when we fought it's like this is the most important thing, you know. It's before also was like Yusuke just using some kind of tricks or some kind of had to be smart about how to use his abilities. This was basically again the same thing, only we can see he can outsmart his enemy again, because his attack is basically not that strong. It's just like shooting like a pistol. You know, the other guy, he could shoot with all his palm, like the full palm. So he had like a super strong blast, and he just has like the small thing with his fingers. So his power is not that strong, but he has to be smart about how to win. That's what we see about it, about the two fights in the tournament. So the last one was against the demon, and we can see him again. Yusuke just outsmarting him. Also to shrink him down, he just repelled the attack somehow, so the enemy got shrunken down, and he also got lucky when he fell down into the water. And later on, he used the tunnel to go underwater to get behind the enemy and to shoot him. And so basically, all the fights from Yusuke were just, we can see him more. He's a smart guy, and he's developing he's getting used to fighting, because like before against Hiei and Kurama didn't fight, but the ogre guy, he had like really problems to you know, it was a little, like really beginning of fighting, but now we can see he's developing, he's getting used to fighting, and he's getting used to being smart about how to use his ability. And I guess his ability didn't develop much. I guess that will come with now the training with Genkai, and he will develop more in this direction. But for now, his ability stays the same level, but he's just he's just getting smarter about fighting. And yeah, Kuwabara, he got like a new ability to manifest the sword, and we have now a new ally to Yusuke who can use the spiritual powers, which we didn't have before. So it was also just luck that Kuwabara was basically there. His sister sent him there for, I don't know again, but he was just lucky that he was there, and now we have like the start of a group, I guess. Yeah, so that was chapter 32. They defeat the enemy and they lock him up, basically.
Cool. Yeah. All right. That was extremely thorough. No. But it was awesome. It was awesome because it was like I mean, like that's always that. I think that's always a good thing. I don't think you can be, I don't think you can ever be too thorough. You know what I mean? Like, you know. So that was really good. That was really good. I was like, it felt like I was remembering certain little things that maybe I had forgotten when I read the chapters, because I'd watched the anime first and then I had read the chapters. It's vastly. I won't say it's vastly different, but there's definitely like there are definitely some differences. There are definitely like some like key differences in terms of the pace and stuff like that. But yeah, okay, so that's pretty cool. Do we want to talk a little bit about how we felt about certain things in terms of this sort of like arc? Were there certain characters that you thought were particularly interesting or great? You know, like what were some of the things that you really liked? What were some of the things that you disliked? You know, stuff like that.
I really liked the development of Kuwabara. He was like really like first kind of opposed to Yusuke, and just when he died and he was like in a ghost form and doing his ghost kind of stuff, detective stuff there, we could see that Kuwabara actually cared about him in a competitive kind of sense. And now that we have him here, there's also the super funny interactions between them when they get competitive again and they scream at each other. You know, like basically like me and my best friend, we also insulted each other like all the time. But we're also like competitive with one another. And I think I guess I saw that the same thing there, and that's something which I really enjoyed to see growing. Like they become like really competitive friends there.
Yeah. I had one of my friends, like we used to be like that, but then like as we got kind of older, we just kind of like, you know what, like especially like we used to skate a lot. We used to skate together a lot, skateboarding, and like, you know, when you skate with people, like, you know, it can be competitive. You can, you know, you're learning a trick, someone else might know like one more trick than you do or something like that. So you're kind of competing to like, you know, learn the same number of tricks or whatever, or do them, you know, well, whatever, you know. So like, my friend, like one of my best friends and I, like, you know, we were like that for a while, for like a few years. And then he messed up one of his, he tore like his ligaments in like one of his, like legs. So like, you know, couldn't skate anymore after that, without like, you know, discomfort. So we stopped skating. And then after that, I was like, well, okay, we don't really have anything that we were super like competitive in, or anything like that. So that just kind of went away, you know, with like when after I stopped skating. But yeah. That's one thing I think that I really like about Yusuke and Kuwabara. It's like it's like I don't know. It like, you know, when you see, like, usually what happens is you see like the protagonist will be like, you know, just kind of like a wonderful like soul and a nice person, and they're all in and they're kind of oblivious and stuff like that. And then the other person is like, you know, really intense, and you know, it's sort of cliche shonen trope, right? But here it's very different. It's like both of them are kind of like, you know, rough around the edges, if you want to call it that. They're both pretty aggressive in certain ways. But I think both of them are like extremely similar in that both of them clearly have, you know, kind souls, and are generally good people in terms of like in terms of like Yu Yu Hakusho. You know, I think that's really interesting. It adds like, it's a different dynamic that I really like. That it doesn't get stale, you know, because like they're not playing roles so much as like, you know, like Vegeta and Goku are playing a role in that way, or like what are some like other shonen, or you know, like Sasuke and Naruto, you know what I mean, like stuff like that, right? Where like one is clearly like, you know, supposed to be the person that you look up to, and the other is clearly supposed to be the person that you don't necessarily look up to. But with Yusuke and Kuwabara, it's like, you know, like,
yeah,
okay,
basically they're the same. Yeah. No, that's true. That I didn't really notice it at first. No, now that you're saying it, like they're like pretty much similar. It's just the only thing which makes us a little biased because we were following Yusuke from the start, and Kuwabara was just like in the background kind of thing, kind of person, and now he's just coming towards more the center, towards the foreground. But that's the only thing why people could be biased towards Yusuke. But basically, they're the same thing. Just I think, which is also not a clear difference, is that both are developing further as a character, but both are not developing the same point. You know, like Kuwabara here is just they're developing in his spiritual powers there and getting the sword and everything, and Yusuke here is just developing and kind of the smarts of fighting. You know, we have like different points in this arc now that we are moving forward. You know, for both personalities, but yeah, but both are growing. So yeah, no, but yeah, so this kind of dynamic is great, and the other one, well, I don't know if it's like great yet or not, but Genkai is like kind of mysterious. She had like only like one moment when at the first trial when they were putting the papers of the envelopes there, and there was like super buff guys, like always, like they seem like super strong, but or are kind of overblown to be strong, but they are not strong at all, and they are like upset to not getting a red piece of paper, and they try to attack Genkai, and she just screams them away. So without doing anything, just screaming, and she's overpowering both of them at the same time. So she is apparently super strong. Also, Botan told like she's like really strong and never accepted students before, and so there's kind of a lot of promises there that she's like really, really great. But I'm very curious about how, and what point, how will she be like really great? You know, like what kind of person will she be, and what kind of teacher will she be, and what is the secret technique? There's like super many questions, and I guess that's what we will see next arc also.
Yeah. Agreed. Like I think when I first encountered Genkai watching the anime, it was like, okay, this is gonna be interesting, and it's such a different thing because I at that point I hadn't watched many anime, and I don't even think I had read more than like 2 manga at that point. When I was first introduced to Yu Yu Hakusho, I was like a kid. I was pretty young, and like I didn't have access to manga. I couldn't, I didn't have a job. Couldn't buy my own manga. Couldn't, we didn't have we had just gotten a computer in the house. So at this point, I was like, I think when I first got introduced to Yu Yu Hakusho, I was like 16 or something like that. Okay. And like, my parents had just, they finally had enough money. We looked into it to get a computer, like a PC for the house, so at that point we were just like on YouTube and everything like that, just kind of watching stuff and watching kind of anime clips whenever we could. Yeah, like I had never really seen someone quite like Genkai in that medium. Like, like someone who was clearly powerful, and wasn't like, wasn't nice, I guess, like in a certain way, like she wasn't, and she's not really, like at least from what we've seen, like she's not, goofy, she's like pretty, like, okay, like, you know what I mean? Like very, very straightforward, cut to the chase kind of person. Like, and I think that was something that really surprised me. And I'm really looking forward to hearing your thoughts on her character as the story progresses and what you think about her, and everything like that. Because I think she's probably one of like she's one of my favorite characters like ever, honestly. And this is like in any medium, I think. Like she's a phenomenal character. I think she just gets better and better as the story goes on. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you think about her.
Okay. No, now I'm very curious now. No, but like also I try to think about like a series which had like a straightforward kind of teacher personality, but I somehow can't think of anyone.
Right, and for them to be a woman, that to me is really like that's really particular.
Yeah, also that's actually like that's actually like a first for me, I guess. I can't remember a teacher who was a woman, and like the whole character. It's kind of new for me, I guess. Because I really can't remember anything about. I can't remember any teacher personalities actually, like except the mainstream ones.
And that's the thing, right? I think that's why it's like it's a pretty powerful thing. Like it sort of allows, like at least for me, like it kind of allowed me to see, and like when I was younger, it was like, oh, like this is not something that doesn't exist. It's like they're like, I mean, you see it like I used to see it in my own life, obviously, with like teachers and people in like schools and stuff like that. Because the majority of my teachers from kindergarten to from pre-kindergarten to like high school were mostly women. I think I maybe had like, unless it was like a gym teacher, most of the gym teachers were guys, but outside of that, I had maybe like two or three teachers that were guys, maybe 3. I want to say 3, like in total. Yeah, I want to say 3 in total. Yeah. So it was really interesting for me to see someone like Genkai, and like in this particular environment, who was basically like, and all these, and everyone's mostly like guys, right? It's like she's like, okay, like y'all ain't really nothing. But I'm gonna see who's the best out of all of you nothings. So like it's really interesting. I really appreciate that about Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah, it's. I also had like somehow the effect like of course, it was a little bit difficult to see, but in exams, like the arcade games exam, when we could get the numbers, we didn't have any means to compare those numbers at first, but I thought like when Yusuke punched the bag and he had like a high score, and I thought, wow, he seems like really strong. But then you can see Genkai just saying, oh wow, just a little bit of surprise there, but like oh, this piece of garbage can hit like this hard. Okay, like, I could see like this kind of emotion from her to see, but yeah, that's also actually. Yeah, no. Now after talking, like I'm really, really curious about the character. I'm really looking forward to it. But I think I remember like something a little bit similar. I guess, and that's from Hunter x Hunter. When they were at Great Island, there was also the girl who seemed young but was like super old, who teach them about Nen. No, like she was also like straightforward, and she was like also like super hard on their training, but she was like more easy as a character, I guess. Personality.
Yeah. She was. Bisky is a bit more goofy in some ways. You know, she's kind of like, okay, here's like the kind of like stereotypical material girl exterior, and then when that exterior is like shattered, it's like, whoa, like this person's amazing, and that's what I love, right? It's like they are extremely important to the growth of the characters in particular instances, right within the story. Like that's what I really appreciate about both of them, and that's why, and I think it's also what I appreciate about Togashi. Like it's very like, at least I think at some level, like he has to be somewhat aware of the fact that he's doing that he has these characters in these roles, and that there's no way, like as a reader, and especially as a guy who's reading this stuff, like you can't ignore like the importance of them. Like you can't, like it's like you can't just be like, oh, here's some, like you can't call them chicks or anything like that. You you have to acknowledge them as like phenomenal characters, because I feel like Bisky is like a phenomenal character. She's awesome.
Yeah. I really like it. Yeah, that's something that Togashi can do. That's true.
Yeah. Isn't it? How did you feel about? Was it Rando? Was Rando like at the that was at the end of that arc? Rando, was he at the end of that arc?
Yeah, Rando was a demon at the end.
Okay. How did you feel about him? How, like did you think he was particularly interesting, at least in comparison to like the other people that Yusuke has had to fight so far?
But of course, like first when they didn't know he was Rando, he was like Shorin, the fake monk thing, So I after Kuwabara was fighting him, I already thought like, yeah, that's, well, I guess later at the fight they also could see it was Rando because of his powers and abilities. But this was the first time for me that like really we had like a character with a lot of different abilities, no? Like because he could like shrink Kuwabara down, and he also tried to use the same move on Yusuke. He could have like, he was throwing flames. He had like wind attacks, and yeah, like super crazy stuff. And he also copied like Yusuke's pistol shot. You know, like it was the first character which had like a lot of ability. That's what I really liked about him as an enemy. Yeah. He didn't have any character or personality value to me. He was like just like, yeah, he's a strong enemy, has many abilities, it's new, you have to overcome him, you know? It's like just a small obstacle, but he had no bond or personality value, like I told. But yeah, the character for the fighting action stuff was really, really great. I thought like it's something new introduced to the fighting part of Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, I think, like, you know, it's not even his or like his personality is not particularly like interesting because it's like, okay, you know, you like causing people pain. Okay, like, yeah, there's like those characters are like a dime a dozen. But I think like what makes him interesting isn't even like him so much as like the construction of that reveal. I think that to me was awesome. I remember when I first read that, I was like and watched it. Excuse me. I was like, whoa. Like, that's really cool because he just looked like this goofy, like, monk like character. And I was like not expecting too much from him. And I definitely wasn't expecting him to be like a sadist. Like, I was not expecting like this goofy little like monk guy to be a sadist. I was not expecting that at all. So when I saw all that stuff happen, it was like, whoa, this is like that's kind of like, to me, the thing that really makes Tagashi. Like, it's not like, you know, it like these characters just kind of they're here. You know, like, he can kind of sort of like, okay, here's his character. This is like, you know, this is what I'm gonna do with this character. Like, deal with it. It's not, and it's not some you know, heavy-handed philosophical diatribe on people or anything like that. It's just like like in terms of like the plot construction, it's really neat. Like, it's a really neat, like, you know, reveal. I thought that was like I thought it was interesting. I thought it was pretty cool.
No. So yeah, when you were watching it like with 16, you said, you know, I can imagine like this had a really big effect on me. But I guess for me nowadays, there's a lot of different manga also have like this clumsy characters who turn out to be like super monster or evil guys or good guys. You know, they just switch, or the switch will be flipped and they just turn out to be like super crazy. So I didn't have like this surprise there because I'm already used to this kind of character. But I can see when you're watching it like with 16, just gone into anime or whatever, and you can see this for the first time. It's like a big surprise and a big whoa moment, definitely. And because it's also one of the, like, I agree, it's like written very well. You don't have like super big consequences or background stuff going on. It's just like flat. He's just there because of Genkai or whatever, and he just turns out to be bad guy. There's no consequences or anything big link to it. It's just like he's there. He's turning out to be bad guy, and that's what I think was like really good here, because we're only focusing on the fighting and developing fighting from going from detective work. We got to fight with Hiei, and now the fight with the tournament fights. So we're just moving from story to more like action shonen stuff. So for me, it's great that there is no big thing going on behind the scenes. You know, it's just like fighting, and we have a bad guy turning out. He was a clumsy guy, and now he's like the big, strong bad guy. So that's what I think it's really great overall there.
Yeah, agreed.
But I don't remember what they're definitely like Biscuit, for example, was one of those. She was like cute and young and stuff, and then when the thing when the facade was shattered, like you said, you like really, it was really crazy, you know. So she turns out to be good. She turns out to be like on the hero side, on the protagonist side. Yeah. But there, you know, definitely also in different mangas, there's always like this kind of character.
Yeah. What were we gonna say? Go ahead.
No, I just was trying to remember more of those characters.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, like, again, like, you know, we can always, you know, like, let's say, like, if, you know, if we're on a particular arc, like, we don't necessarily have to stick to the arc, right? We can, you know, talk about how one arc relates to a previous arc and the story as a whole and the construction of the manga and stuff like that. So anytime, you know, like let's say, like, when we move on to the next arc in Yu Yu Hakusho, you know, if there's like any relation or anything like that, you can always talk about that. We can always go backwards, you know, and talk about how they're connected and linked and what interesting things are happening.
Yeah, sure. It's true. Well, I don't know, you know. So this random for me is just like a hurdle or just to overcome. But he maybe can come back and at some point then be relevant again. I don't know. It could possibly be but for me now he's not that important. Just like I said, a hurdle to overcome. But anytime he could connect it to something bigger or anything else. I don't know yet.
All right, cool. I guess we can move on to Deadman Wonderland. You know, for the second half of the stream. I think that was like it was
already long time.
Okay. No, but it was good. It was good. I don't mind like length doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I mean, you
know?
If I'm discussing, it's fine.
Yeah, it's cool. Cool beans. Deadman Wonderland, man.
Okay, first, I would like to say sorry for splitting the arc into 2 parts. I actually thought, like, what we could see, like the big reveal, I guess, at the end, would be later in the story or an arc later. I actually wasn't expecting it, so I kind of broke up your experience into 2 parts. So I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. It's cool. It's still really good. It's still a really, really great experience. I was like, so okay, so just like in terms of like a very, very like general kind of summary, like in terms of like what happened, right? We were introduced chapter 8 was sort of the chapter in which what's his name? Yo, I guess like they call him Yo, whatever, the guy who is trying to get his sister, who was also revealed to be a character in the G Word, right? Out of Deadman Wonderland, and like right, and he sees Shido just, you know, destroy and like basically like mutilate like these bodies like just viciously, and he's just like kind of, you know, he's kind of like, it's almost like a traumatic moment for him because he's just like, man, I can't like like he's trying to like catch his breath and everything. It's really funny because, you know, at least when I read up to that point, I was like, oh, I don't like this guy. This guy's a scumbag. You know, like, yeah, that's what you get, man. Like, don't mess with Shiro. But then like with chapter like 9, 10, and 11, you really get and I feel like 12, I think 12 too. But yeah. 12 to 12 was like, yeah. 12 also, I think 12 was the one where he realized that he couldn't buy his sister. I feel like it was chapter 12, but I'm not sure. Like he realized that he couldn't just like use the CP points to get his sister out of Deadman Wonderland. And that I was like, like I should have expected it. And I didn't know why I didn't expect it. I think that's something like, to me, that should have been very clear, because the sort of like pseudo Warren the Doctor kind of guy, like that's also kind of running Deadman Wonderland. I mean, like, he's a terrible human being. So I should have known, you know what I mean? I should have known that.
Yeah, that's true. I thought so. It was a little bit naive to think he will just allow him to get his sister out. You know, even so we didn't know she was like a dead man. Like we were before, we could just, I think she was like just a normal inmate and still participating in, still there. I guess he will not let anyone go because the inmates are still there for the games and to make money to show to broadcast the shows, you know. So either way, I thought it was a little bit naive to think he could get her out like just like that.
You know, and it's like and then I kept thinking about, like, how did I not? God, like I was like but at the same time, it was like I don't know. I guess like there are always instances where you know, like I think that's on the writing too. When you can write that sort of into existence, like that kind of hope, and you can sort of like go with your I'm trying to think of the word. You can sort of like foster like hope in the reader of your writing. Like when you can sort of like, you know, and like not everybody will react in the same way, but I do think that like it's good. Like I like that, because I was like, man, like he's gonna keep working, he's gonna work, da da da, and then bam, just like crushed almost immediately. I love that too. I thought that was really, really great because it was in line with his character as like a scumbag, and it was interesting because like again, like these chapters added crucial, at least to me, like very like important layers to this guy, because like at first I was like, oh, this guy's a scumbag, but now I'm like, oh man, like he's clearly been through some stuff. But I also think that like these two characters, and his sister, are really complex. Like I really like what was going on. And that was just 3 chapters. But we got a lot. So like, and again, like quickly, like right, we meet what's her name again? Minazuki.
Yeah.
Right, and we meet Minazuki, right, and we're like, oh, she's just girl who's
like it's like what we told before. She starts off like being cute and crying, and like she's really cry, and then when they start to fight, madness breaks out. Like literally madness just pours out of her.
And it was awesome. I was like, man, and the thing that I loved about it was just the layers, right? Like it was like at first you were like, okay, she's just kind of a regular girl who's very timid. Then you realize that she's a little like sadistic and definitely like off the rails, and there are some issues there. And then right, and so then we're thinking, oh, she tricked her brother. Then we realize that she didn't trick Yo, and he pretty much knew that she was a little off the rails. And then right, we learn more about like what actually happened and everything. Like I thought that was like really, really well done. It was really well done, and like again, in such a small space. You know what I mean? Such a small like sort of sample size, right? Like usually you might have like a manga do that after like I don't know 60 chapters or something like that. It might take the longest time for a shonen manga or a seinen manga even. Well, no, more so shonen, because I think seinen are pretty awesome about that. But like I think that this is one of the reasons why I really enjoy seinen manga most of the time, because they can be particularly short, but they have so much so much emphasis. They can compact such a story, such a past in like a few chapters. It was awesome. And the fight. Oh man. I really enjoyed the fight for 2 reasons. One, because of like the reveal, the shift, that was like, whoa. I was like, this is really good. And then 2, because Ganta is a character that like he has sort of like his aesthetic sort of says naive, optimistic, blah blah blah. But I think what I love is that when the chips are down, right, when it's like, yo, if I don't do something here, bad things will happen to me, right? And it's like it's a very basic concept, but in Deadman Wonderland, it holds such weight that like even someone like Ganta, who's like, I don't necessarily want to kill people or even hurt anybody or whatever, is like, okay, I gotta take Minazuki down, because if I don't, she's gonna kill me or he doesn't, and then I still get like an organ or a body part or something taken from me. So I think that's also one of the best things about the manga so far, and like the concept of these like carnival sort of like fights, is that it's never as simple as like, okay, just win or you just lose. Like it's never that simple. Like on both sides, it's always like there's a battle and then there's the aftermath.
Yeah, there's always consequences if you lose and everything, and also if you win, you have to still like it's some mental weight to know that the other person will get something. Like that's something which weighs really heavy on Gauta. And what I really like about him here, in especially this fight, like I told, his basic instincts kick in. Like stops to think and like, fuck, I need to win, and but he still tries to fight the system there. He's just thinking about how can he win without killing her, and when he manages to take her down with the headbutt, and she the fight is over. Everybody's screaming, kill her, kill her, kill her. And he's just like, no, fuck you guys. I will not do it. You know, he's still fighting the system. And that's something like from this fight on, I really started to like Gunter. Before we had like the crybaby kind of Gunter, but from here on, like after this fight, I really started to love him as the main character.
Agreed. And it's just like, you know, it's the little things like that, and like right. It's not just that, you know, he's trying to like, right. It's not just that he's trying to fight the system, but that there are all these other things in play, all these all these things that are taking an emotional toll on him. And so like I think that's one of the reasons why the fight was so great. And and of course like that reveal was really, really, really strong. That's the kind of stuff that I really love. Like when a manga does that, it's like, man, it gives you such a good feeling, because it's like, you know what, I'm glad I read up to this chapter. Like I'm glad I read this work up to this manga up to this chapter, because that was intense. I mean I understood that there was a connection, but I didn't think that it would be like the fact that Shiro, right? Is that like the like Shiro is the red man, right?
The red man, the red
and
stick,
it's like,
yeah, especially before the stream, I just were watching the pictures again there, and what I really, really liked was that actually she was like she was called back, you know, before, and she was, because of the song, she was kind of crazy, and she went to this old man who's just lying there. We were also discussing about him a little bit, and he just gets up, you know, unplugs himself, and starts to use his blood also as a dead man. And they just turn around, and you can see the Wretched Egg's armor, and they are somehow attacking it, and then you just see a smile in the dark. So in this moment, you think, yeah, the old man and Shiro are teaming up to fight the Wretched Egg there. You know, the whole chapter is built up like this, and then you have like some relaxed moments where Ganta and some other parts, and the thing where Minazuki loses her hair, you know, just calm down, and then you get back to the point again to just to get the reveal that she was actually the Red Man. Like this whole setup there, like, was super amazing.
Yeah,
that's something I feel about, like,
just really good.
Yeah, to prolong again, like, the mystery about who is the Red Man, you know, and then just to blow the bomb like in the reader's face like that. It's like really good.
And I think like it's something that I appreciate about shorter works. They like the writing has to be strong, right? Like you can't really have a lull in chapters. Like every chapter has to be doing something that's crucial to moving the story forward, and making sure that we're still interested. And every chapter does that. Every chapter for Deadman Wonderland does that. And I think, like, you know, shorter manga works tend to do that. But this was just so well done. Yeah, I like the setups, like the panel placement, all those things. Like, yeah, just extremely well done. You know, I
guess one of the points why it's so good, it's like, well, I think this comes a little bit from because it was a monthly series. So
okay.
So the chapters are also bigger, you know. So that's why we also have like a few number of chapters. But because if it was monthly, you have to keep your readers engaged month for month. So you have to have in every chapter there needs something chibi, you know. We can't have like One Piece. Last chapter was like kind of, okay, now here we show everyone what's going on with every character. Okay, see you in 2 weeks, you know. But here in a monthly series, you have to like something strong which people should remember, and then get excited for the next chapter, and when they pick up the next chapter, they still need to remember what was going on in the last chapter. So you always have to have something really big and really strong in the chapter. That's what I feel about monthly series, and I think Deadman Wonderland is doing it perfectly so far.
Oh yeah. I'm just definitely gonna be a series that once I'm done, once I've read through it. I mean, and also like once I have, because I try not to buy too many like comics or manga and stuff like that in one place, especially manga, because like I just don't have the shelf space. Like I don't want like stacks of books, strewn all just over the apartment. Yeah. Like nah. like my fiance would not approve of having books on the floor. Like no. So and I'm kind of like, I'm not really like that, like either. So yeah, especially with like cats, like you can't just have books strewn on the floor. The cats like to mess with them. No. But yeah, like I think once I'm done, like it's definitely gonna be a series that I like buy every volume of, and have, because it's phenomenal. One thing I also really love is just the way that, right, like they introduced this character, like when they introduced the sort of like disciplinary sort of the disciplinary sort of woman with the sword.
I'm trying to remember the name. Wait.
It's okay. I mean,
Makina.
Yeah, Makina, right? Like, and she's just consistently being played. And like that, and it's weird because like I see her at first and I'm like, I can't stand this character. And now, like every time I see her, I'm like, man, she's got to get this guy. And I think
that's what also I thought a really great development there for background character. When you first arrive there as a reader with Ganta, she is in control, and she is like the evil woman who's in control and punishing the people and everything. But then shortly after, you just notice like, whoa, she is not in control at all. She doesn't know anything at all what's going on. Mm-hmm. And she's also being tricked. And then the characters like swapping sides from a bad guy or a bad person to a good person, So kind of good person who's also been tricked. So you also try to, for me, I started to root for her that she could get this scumbag, because I really dislike him. So I really hope she can get him. But it's like also, again, it's like the swap of sides. It's always like super interesting, and that's only in the background story. I guess in these 4 chapters you only see her once or twice. But again, just to tell again such a strong story for a character in the background is also again really great.
Mm-hmm. And I guess like what else I want to talk about? Let me look through very quickly. I think let's stick to talking about 11, and then 12. We can talk about 12 there, because like 12 had like so much information. That it was almost like
started in New York.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna talk about 12 too much like anywhere, but I definitely want to stick to 8, 9, 10, and 11. I mean, like I really appreciate like again like the way that the mangaka has developed Yo as a character, right? Again, right? And this is a consistent I guess I'd call it like not a motif, because that's very like, it's very particular. The motif is a very particular kind of thing, but theme, I guess. Like it's a very like it's a very like recurring sort of theme of like characters are not they're not stable in a certain sense, right? Like in the way that Yo is not a character that just kind of stays like an annoying character who's very sneaky and kind of or whatever. Like now I see him differently after only after a few chapters. Same with Makina. Same with Yo's sister. Same with Ganta. Right? Like these characters are they develop like. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's not even so much that they develop so much as it's that when we learn more information, it's almost like we're forced to change our perspective. Exactly. And I really like that because you have to be able to write something particularly compelling for a reader to say, I gotta reevaluate my opinion, like how I feel about this character. I have to. Like I don't have a choice, you know. And I think
no.
You know, and that's how strong the writing is, like the character writing is, right? With some, you know, with a lot of like with some other manga, like that writing won't be really strong. Like you generally will always think, this character is like garbage, or that character is a great person, or this character is, you know, whatever, you know. So I really appreciate that.
No, I guess the writer is kind of using the flaw in humans that they just judge people directly. It's something we basically everyone, I guess, does somehow to some kind of level in real life also. And I think the writer is like using this to just put a character, show only bad points about him. People will judge him as a bad person. And then we reveal, for example, he's tricking Ganta for the pill or for the medicine, and he's gathering money, like really fuck, and he's only showing bad points. So we think about him as a bad person. But then we reveal, he's doing it for his sister because he wants to save her, and he's like really caring brother because she's like mentally unstable, and she really wants to protect her. And you shouldn't show. Then we show good points, and then everybody's forced to just change their opinion. You know, that's something I guess the writer is abusing there for this flaw in humans, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. You know, so it's just like I just really appreciate that, right? Like that it's like just a little bit of information can really you know, really change your perspective, and you have to sort of and you have to stick with it. Yeah, I think that's all I'm gonna say about that. And I guess like that's why, and that reveal does so much for Shiro as a character, and she's already a phenomenal character. She already has like this depth, all this stuff, and then we get this reveal, and it's like, oh my goodness, you know?
Yeah. It's like first we had Shiro with so many levels, mysteries and stuff. And also at the same time, we had the Red Jack or the Red Man with so many mysteries and levels to what the reader was thinking about. But then they just put them together, and we have like a huge stack of mysteries, which everyone really wants to know, and every reader really wants to solve, and really want to figure out what's happening there. So it's like crazy to put them together. So yeah.
Yep.
I remember when I was reading it first, I was like super shocked, like I just fell from the heaven to earth, and yeah, I was super shocked because I was really fanboy of Shiro, and yeah, then to see that she's like the Red Man, damn.
And it's cool because now it's like I have to like what's the word I'm looking for? I have to like flip through all of like everything that I know about Shiro, her connection to the old guy, everything like that, and like I got to figure out like what's actually going on here, right? And again, like I don't really know. Like I can have like ideas, but those ideas aren't like probably not what's going to be the case. So now again, I'm really looking forward to an explanation. Like I need to know. And I also can't wait for that reveal when Ganta experiences it, because he's gonna have to, right? Like this is the kind of reveal that like is there for us, but it's also there for the protagonist. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's gonna be extremely interesting.
Yeah. What I want to touch also on when we are just talking about Ganta there. Because at the same time, when we get the reveal about Shiro, Ganta is starting to remember his past. So at the same time, when we learn the really bad points or like the dark side of Shiro, he remembers like super positive stuff about her and the childhood. And what's your point on the flashback there when we also see his mother?
I don't know. I mean, like, was that chapter? That was 11, correct? Like that was 11. Yeah. It's interesting because like there's like a way in which right, like when I guess in those flashbacks you get like a different kind of side, at least for me, of Shiro. Like there's like it's like she shifts in terms of kind of like her personality. And I guess like that's sort of kind of like emblematic of what's going on in that reveal, and that we think that Shiro's one like kind of person, and then realize that she's like someone else kind of in a sense, but not really. It's weird. Like so let me look through.
Yeah, no problem. Just it's just like 6 pages or something. You can just flip through, I guess. I have to see. I don't have the page numbers because it's not only about Shiro, this flashback.
Yeah.
It's like really huge. Like it's first major flashback we get for the main story, everything basically. So you can just watch it again to see.
You know, but it's intense. I mean, like we get to see let's see, you know, this the woodpecker song, the fact that I'm not sure, like, am I like, is that Ganta's? Like, I'm not sure who the woman crying is. Is that Ganta's mother? Is that Shiro's mother? Looks like...
in the German version, Ganta's saying, there's mother. So
okay, let me see.
I can't say until I have the books here, so I can't say which page.
So for me, that's like really that's pretty interesting. And then there's like some weird mark on the piano. I'm not sure what that's about, but you know, it's interesting. It's like there's a lot of interesting stuff that's going on here. That like the song is for Shiro. Like, how does the old man know this song? Like, what's going on? Like,
piano. Wait.
Connections.
I think we're maybe about different flashbacks here.
Or are we talking about
Yeah, later in the chapter, just before the reveal of Shiro, there's also a flashback.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm talking about.
Wait. No. Okay, before.
We're talking about earlier, the one where they're talking about Ace Man and the
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the action figure. Yeah, and then Shiro just like breaks it, and then Shiro blames him for the fact that
it's your own fault to break it.
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm talking about there, right? There's like that there's a very different there's a very different side to Shiro. Right. But well, and then she, you know, destroyed the dog. I mean, there was that. You know, but it's just really interesting. There's like so much there, and it's not a straightforward flashback. You know, it's really not. Like there's just so much going on, right? Even you know, right when she says Ace Man has arrived, then there's a panel. She's saying it, but she looks kind of like, it's like, I don't even know how to describe like her facial expression or the emotion that's like behind that. It's like a mixture of things. It's like, it doesn't look like she's happy, but it looks like maybe she's, you know, shy, blushing. There's a whole bunch of things going on there. You know, Ganta's just like, oh, okay, that was really cool. But like with Shiro, like to me, like, at least clearly, there's a lot going on there. You know, in terms of what she's had to deal with. You know, maybe this is her first friend in Ganta. It's just really, really, really interesting. You know, and the fact that like, right, like there's an instance where she just smashes the toy, she smashes the Ace Man. Really, really, really interesting stuff. So I think it tells us a bit more about the complexity that is Shiro. How we should probably perceive her and sort of be open-minded when it comes to her, because there's a lot going on. So really, really interesting stuff. Really, I want to know more. I definitely need to know more. But so far, really, really good.
Okay. Yeah. So I've just one of the first major flashbacks there. I guess another point which I wanted to touch was more about, or the last point I wanted to talk about was more of the. Well, we can include a little bit of chapter 12 there, but more about the Deadman, which we already know. Because also, while Ganta, it's not so important that much, but Ganta and, I forgot the name again, Minazuki were fighting, Senji arrived, and he as a former enemy, and he's like helping Gunter, and they are eating out ramen later, like this kind of stuff. And also in chapter 12, we see that Gunter and Minazuki are talking again, there's the forced conflict from the fights, but they are still like kind of in the same boat, So what do you think about the development there? Because before,
no, go ahead.
But before we just got introduced to the characters, but now they are. Last time we talked, the characters were only introduced, and we had the Senji fight. But now we have like more interaction between the Deadmen themselves. So
yeah, I mean the Deadmen are like really, really interesting, and it just adds a different feel. It just adds a really different feel to the story and in the direction that it has to take. It in one way it's more solid because we understand clearly the sort of doctor / Sly kind of Fox kind of character. He has plans for them. He wants to use them for generally it's like making money and maintaining Deadman Wonderland and everything like that. But I know that there's more. There's more to that. Than just I just want to have a great time and I want to be sadistic and everything like that. I guess and that was in chapter 8 we got introduced to a whole just a crew and a whole bunch of them, and that was really interesting because they all had sort of different personalities. It kind of reminded me a little bit of I don't know, kind of that panel kind of reveal that you always get when you have a group. And what's interesting here is that usually when you have a panel like that, it's the group is particularly important in terms of the grand scheme of sort of manga in general. But those aren't all of the dead dead men. Two, when you see it, it's let's say maybe it's Akatsuki from Naruto, or I'm trying to remember the group from Kimetsu no Yaiba, or the Espada and Bleach and stuff like that, right? You see that, and that's usually they're usually at the core of the arc that they're introduced into, or the core of the story in general. But here it's just this is just a ragtag kind of but group of people who are very clearly powerful, but there are other dead men that we have not met yet. And then so it's pretty cool. I really like it, and what I also like is the ways in which we at least for me, I want to trust them, but I can't because I have to expect that more things are going to be revealed about these characters than just hey, let's have a party, let's eat, let's have a good time, everything like that. There's always an instance in which we get to see the dead men just kind of be people, and generally kind of chill and nice and everything like that. And then there's always another instance where it's just I gotta survive, sorry, but you have to die. And they get really intense and focused in the battles, when they are in the battles. Really, really, really cool stuff. Personally, I really love the Deadman. I like the way that in which they are important. They're important, but I love when they're introduced, they're not the end all be all. like a character is not like the end all be all for the story. The group of people, the group of Deadmen are not the end all be all for the story. It's like, again, we're gonna meet more of them. We're gonna see, you know, just how interesting they are, how all of them are connected in certain ways. And so far, I'm like, man, this is awesome. So far, I really love the Deadman. I think, and I love that, like, again, like we talked about the powers at the end of the last, at the end of the last Deadman conversation in the last stream, and like that's gonna be like super interesting. The fact that like Yo sister has like that whip that's like super like it's like really fast. Like at least like with her hair, and it has to do. Does it have to? Is it like the blood? Does it like? Does she like use her hair?
No, she.
Or is it just that like
kind of used? She was kind of proud of her hair, and she used her blood from the ear. Just
right.
It was very similar to looking like the hair. It was similar looking, but basically,
I got it.
That's why. That's also why in chapter 12, when she when they changed the outcome of the punishment, and they changed outcome, and she will lose her hair, and Ganta was freaking out, but because of Ganta and her brother, she just kind of changed, because also she didn't know what to feel, you know. She was like, yeah, they are both crazy, you know, because they care a lot about her. And she doesn't know what to feel and what to do about those feelings. So somehow when she gets a haircut off, she's just smiling and she doesn't care about it.
Yeah.
So no, but what I particularly like about the Deadman, like now in the chapters we haven't read before, is like they are, how should I say, they are shown or described first. Again, it's like first, like same like Yo again, like basically it's like first they're shown as enemies in the fights and like really evil, and then they're introduced as like normal people, like whatever, we're sitting in the same boat. Like with the new characters, you know, first we see Shinji as an enemy and we see the other Deadmen as good people. But then we also, again, this is also reinforced when just Ganta is or Shinji is meeting Ganta, they're just eating ramen or like just joking around. Even so, he lost because of Ganta, and he lost an eye because of Ganta, you know. And that's something which I really liked again. It's like the same, basically the same principle again, where we meet them as bad guys and we have to switch our opinion on them. But there's still no reason, like I told, there's still no reason to trust them, and they still have to earn the reader's trust, I guess.
Yep.
That's something, a really important point. You just sit there.
It's just like it's really like I really like the construction of all these characters. They like when they're on, and well, when they have to be on, they're on, right? And it doesn't matter, like they're like the self, like that the and part of it is instinct. I think clearly, like, right, you know, the instinct to survive, but the other part of it is like there's like somewhere where each of them enjoys the battle for their own reasons, like at least from what we've seen so far, right? It's like Yo sister's Senji's I keep forgetting her name, Minazuki, right? Like we see Minazuki and Senji is his name,
Senji,
right? And we see those two, and like when they're in battle, it's not just okay, I gotta survive, I'm not gonna lose, but it's also like I don't want to lose, I want to, like, I have my own intentions going into this battle, and everything like that. It's really, really interesting, right? So like it's almost like it's kind of like part of it is like when like certain prisoners are institutionalized, and so they kind of like, right, they get used to, you know, the setting that they're placed in. They're like, okay, I've been living here, I've been doing this for a while. I like there's a way, right? And even Minazuki sort of says this, like there's a way that I have to like think, and like there's a certain state of mind that I have to stay in order to kind of survive mentally and physically, I think, and emotionally, right? And so like it's just really interesting to see that like there's all that goes into the battle. Like again, the battles are never like just whatever. Like the battles also kind of, you know, you really get to see these characters, like these Deadman, in some ways, like, you know, one, fighting to survive, but two, kind of enjoying themselves almost, that to me is really, really interesting. You know, so I'm really looking forward to like seeing other Deadman kind of fight, right? Like Gant's I don't think he's there yet, right? Like Gant's clearly is not there yet. Maybe he will be. Maybe there will be a point where he's like, okay, I gotta, you know, he might become like a Deadman that, you know, does inevitably, right, use these battles to do particular things. And I think even in this chapter, and even in here, we kind of got that a little bit, right, where he's fighting the institution, you know, and sort of like even Ganta, why, right, like it's not super similar in terms of like, you know, the sadism and the lust for battle and stuff like that. There's still a reason outside of survival that he's fighting and he's doing the battles and everything like that. That's good stuff. You know,
that's true. It's not often that every character has a reason other than just surviving in fights. You know, that's something which doesn't exist a lot in shonen, I guess. Like the main characters always somehow, but somehow the bad guys or the enemies or whatever, it's like it's not a lot of times they have more than just fighting or just want to win for the bad cause. You know, they have like really personal reasons and emotion attached to their fighting, I guess.
So like, and that's and I'm kind of always saying that like, you have to have, right, battles can't like just be boom 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 boom, right? Like it can't just be like there have to be there has to at least be one layer of like metaphor where, you know, that can mean something. There's something else going on outside of just like the fist clashing, you know. But like here, right, and sometimes, you know, with shonen, sometimes we just get like one layer where it's like, oh, you know, I'm fighting for this one reason. I'm fighting for, and on the other side, I'm fighting for this one reason. But here it's like there's so many different things. Really cool stuff, right? Like in one sense, it's like I'm getting better with my ability. There is a reason, like there's like a very like instinctual reason why I'm fighting for survival, and then there's like the either ideological sort of reason or you know, what's what I'm looking for? Like no, like I'm trying to think, but it's like a like pleasure or something like that. I can't, you know what I mean? Like there's something like, you know what I mean? Like it's different. Like it's different. Like right, there's like survival. There's trying to like, you know, master this ability so that they can survive, and then there's like what am I doing
reason,
that
reason to hire you fight, you know.
You know,
Gantas wants to get out and get back to with Shiro, and before he was talking about I don't have any friends anymore, but Shiro told no, I am your friend, you know, and he wants to survive to get to reunite with her, and Minazuki just wants to, I guess, inflict pain and enjoying this kind of in the fight. She in the fight with Ganda, she just wants to enjoy the fight and the blood and everything. So for her, it's of course it's survival, but she also really wants to enjoy the fight, enjoy the pain, I guess. And Shinji, before, he was just like super interested in Ganta and just wanted to get him as strong as possible and then beat him, you know. So he really just not only wanted to win to survive, but he wanted to beat Ganta at a high point in the fight because he was really interested in Ganta, I guess. And you know, that's always a higher cause than just survival. That's, I guess, what I understood from your you're saying.
Yeah, there's like right, like it's not like it's complicated. Like the battles are complex. Like there are layers and not just like one sort of layer to it.
It's not Dragon Ball Super.
You know? Yeah. You know, like even I had to stop making like review videos for that because after a certain point I just kind of like I was like I don't like I'm not like my heart's not really in this.
Yeah.
Like I still watch it, you know, because it's a fun thing. But I couldn't like
seriously review anymore.
You know, yeah. Like I couldn't, you know, like, it's like nah.
No. But basically what's it's normally shonens are a lot of times it's like bad guy wants to do something and good guys just don't want this thing to happen. So basically that's it. You can summarize basically like a lot of our fairy tale was a lot of times just that.
Oh yeah.
And but here we don't have it at all. All. So, and that's what's really good here. Okay, so
yeah.
The last point, well, we were talking a lot now, but I wanted to just catch up briefly to chapter 12 since it was the start of the new arc.
Yep.
And just to summarize it, we could see the woman who was following Ganta in the chapters before.
Oh yeah.
She just attacked him to see what he's like, and we could see like you guessed like a hardening kind of power with the blood. So she could have that, and we also meet like the kind of resistance there.
Yep.
Working in the background, and which was really surprising for me was that they actually could manipulate the outcome of the punishment. You know, he just pulled out his tooth, super technological tooth.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. It was really surprising. I really didn't expect that. So. And we got the manager guy who brings a new ally of his, the super crazy guitar monk, whatever. So and he's beating up Yo, and that's when you told we see that Yo is just can't get Mina to go out there, just like that.
Yep.
And the resistance there. So what's your thought on? I guess those new parties we see, the Manga and the Resistance.
I thought it was pretty cool. I you know, especially because like just recently with the Promised Neverland, we had the Resistance troop and that.
Yeah.
And like I immediately thought of that. And I think like really thinking about like now that I have Deadman Wonderland on the mind, like it's really hard not to see like the similarities between the two sort of manga, and I feel like both of them have to be at some level a fan of Deadman Wonderland, just because I think there are so many like themes and things that are very similar. Art, like the way certain things are kind of like conceived, like the Wonderland kind of vibe, the being prisoners, fighting for the survival in that sense,
but also fighting for something else.
You know, like there's a lot. There are a lot of similarities. I think a lot of people will say that The Promised Neverland is like similar to Death Note, but I think it's actually way more similar to Deadman Wonderland.
I guess.
I like I get where people are coming from in terms of Death Note, where they're like, oh, it's it's very analytical and there is a mystery and like well, not even the mystery. I don't even think that. I think like. I don't think Death Note is really about mystery at all, for the most part. I think
it's more about ideology or something.
Yeah. It's very I think it's actually very straightforward in a lot of ways. Because it's like here's this battle between individuals who have their own senses of justice. Like, and that's what that is. Like I think that's what Death Note is. And it's just, but I think it does it well in a certain way. But like Deadman Wonderland is like it's not only about that, but it's also like, about all these other things. And then there's a mystery, and then there's a, sort of like battle kind of like aspect of it. I think it's like, I think The Promised Neverland is far, like way more similar to Deadman Wonderland. And I think like the more I read it, the more I see like the similarities and the influences, I guess. Yeah. But this chapter was really awesome. Like I love like I really love the art too. The art is like really, really great. I love that every character design is always like like I remember the character design. You know what I mean? Like it's so intricate. And like right there are parts of the character design very like JoJo. I'm thinking of like because like with JoJo, like you remember the stands, you remember the outfits for the characters, right? Both the stands and the stand users. Kind of similar to that, but I think even more so, like the like even more intricate, like what they're wearing. Even like the little tooth thing, right? Even that little thing helps me remember this character, and everything like that. Like that, all that stuff is like really neat. So I love the character designs. I love the characters themselves. I love the fact that they could control the punishment. And when I saw that, I was like, whoa, these guys are for real. It was like they're not just kind of like, oh, we're just hiding in like a storage closet and we're doing, we're trying to like come up with these plans to overthrow like the government. It's like, no, it's like these guys have legitimate resources.
And they have resources and power there. But I like the fact that like you're talking about the designs and the clothing and everything. Like I really like that. Even so, it's a resistance there and it's secret, and their designs is very simplistic in that kind of sense. But you still remember those characters because of their the special moments they have in this chapter. With Tooth and with the power from the woman with the hardening blood. You still remember them. Even so, their design is very subtle because they're resistant and they need to be subtle. But they're still really great. Yeah, but the monk, I agree, it's like really JoJo-esque, like super crazy special. Like, yeah, I'm a monk. I'm gonna read sutras for you, but you need to die for them. You need to die to hear them. But then he just whips out an electric guitar and everything. Yeah, like it's like really crazy. And he's also smoking cigarette in the mouth, and it's not like a subtle kind of monk outfit. It's like with flames, like really rock and roll. It's like I have to say I have a lot of difficulty with the character design, but I agree it's very JoJo-esque. Like I didn't know JoJo's Bizarre Adventure when I was reading it, so I couldn't draw those lines. But seeing it now, I can really recognize it. So it makes the character definitely better because I really like JoJo. Yeah, but yeah. So we kind of got introduced to two new sides, like the resistance and the monk there. But the last point I would like to talk about is like the second. Do you have possibility to see now the second last page of the 12th chapter?
Yeah, I can pull that up. Chapter 12.
Well, it's like a 2-page picture.
Oh, is that the one with where Shiro just kind of like
arrives back and tells, Ace Man is here.
Yeah, was.
And you see her, and she's like happy and cute again, and Kanta's super happy, and we as a reader just know, well, damn, So I really like the drawing. It's like hit on perfect on just Kanta's imagination and memories. He just got back and everything, but yeah, everything's fucked up. Also Yo, and the last page, you can see Yo. He's like the same reaction like the reader basically had. So I really like the ending of this chapter. So as a cliffhanger, if you read it monthly, I guess, or chapter by chapter, it's like a really great cliffhanger there.
It was really good. And like that's the thing, right? It's like it's layered in that way, right? We so when we're looking at this, we have to think about the flashback, right? The pudding is something that's mentioned. When Yo is like, yes, she's here, the real monster, like that's his experience. Like he's only had like one particular experience watching Shiro just like decimate these guards or whatever, and then like we have that, but like I think what really sort of like, at least for me, like what's really getting to me obviously is like the fact that she's the red guy, like, and it's like and it's just really, really intense. Like, it's like, dude, you think she's a monster now, you don't even know. That is just, man. I love the ending. Like you said, like it's just like a real cliffhanger sort of ending where we just like right again, like she's just like really like happy-go-lucky. Ganta's super happy-go-lucky. There, you know, it's just really interesting, and it ends like that, and it doesn't end in like you know, like something that I mentioned like in a couple of my streams, like Shokugeki no Soma does that, and that bothers me, where they'll have these ends to the chapters that are very anticlimactic. They're kind of boring. Yeah, I mean, like, yes, like I'm always gonna acknowledge that like the art is wonderful and like the art is great because the artist for Shokugeki no Soma is like phenomenal. But yeah,
it's always like the ending of the chapter is, I finished cooking. I will give my dish to the judge now. that's like should be like the real cliffhanger. Like, wow, we didn't know your dish will be judged. Oh no! Like that's kind of cliffhanger. But I understand it's pretty impossible to, especially now in like the big fight or cooking fights in Shokugeki no Soma now. It's pretty impossible to do a cliffhanger ending. You know, it's like a fight, and we know they are fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. You know, it's impossible to do a cliffhanger now, but I kind of, I don't want to say like it's bad to do it. You can't do anything, I guess. But yeah, I see what you mean. Like it's not. Yeah, it's not really interesting, kind of to read as chapter. That's what I'm saying. I think Shokugeki no Soma is like really boring now. But if I read this arc as a whole, you know, like the whole arc in one go, I think it will be a great arc to read.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But especially because it's so fast, you know. Irina now was just cooking, and she finished her dish in one chapter, you know. So it's really fast paced, and we get to meet super strong characters and everything. But in one go, it will be great. But weekly, it's super boring. But yeah, here we don't have it at all. Like it's especially now. This is like one of the biggest cliffhangers in manga I remember. You know, so you have like this really big reveal, new characters introduced.
Yep.
And like you told, you will be curious will be wondering, oh fuck, we know Gunter doesn't know. What will he think? And then we see him and Shiro reuniting again. We have Monk, we have the Resistance, we have Yo who was beat up, everything, and the other Deadman. Just like everything is like, where are we going now? It's like everything's a mystery now. So like a huge cliffhanger.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So far, I'm really enjoying it. And I mean, like, in some ways, I'm really enjoying. Usually, like even now, just like doing all these like streams and reading parts and stuff like that, I really enjoy it because I think, you know, before I started YouTube, I just like sit down and I might like, and this is even before I was with my fiance, like even before that, like I'd probably just sit down, read like 50 chapters of something, and then, you know, probably stop because it's like my eyes would start hurting or whatever. And then I'd like, you know, get up the next day and read like another like 50 something chapters or whatever.
Yeah, me too.
And then, you know, and then like if the arc is particularly good and right, or if like the chapters are really, really good at whatever point you're at, like you'll read maybe like 60 chapters or 65 chapters or, you know, whatever. I remember I was reading Toriko, and it hit, I can't remember which arc it was. I think it was the arc where it was like the chef's like competition. Have you read Toriko?
Yeah, I have read.
Yeah, and it was like the chef's competition, and like all of like the like, you know, super high class chefs were there, and that was like the first legitimate fight between Star June and Toriko, and Star June basically like took Komatsu with him. Like at the end of that, and like I remember reading through that like that whole thing so fast, and I just kept reading. Like it was that good. Like the arc, like maybe like the arc like before that and that arc, and then a little bit of what happened after, where Toriko had to sort of get over what had happened and everything like that. And like that, I read that like I binged that, man. And like that's what kind of what I'm talking about. But in those instances, I can't really absorb everything. Like with this, like when I'm reading everything, like sort of like, okay, here are 4 chapters that I'm gonna read, you know, or here are 10 chapters that I'm gonna read, or here are, you know, 15 and you know, chapters or 20 chapters. And usually I stop at like 20 chapters, but like, you know, I can absorb everything, I can think about it, I can, you know, do all of that. And like with this, I really appreciate it because, you know, the chapters are particularly long, but they are very good. They are very, very good, solid. Not even, well, I wouldn't say just solid, like, you know, phenomenal chapters. They give a lot of information, but they give it in a way that's very straightforward, right? Like it's not like I'm gonna forget like, oh, this is super important thing happened. Yeah, so far I'm really loving Deadman Wonderland.
That's great to hear. I'm glad. So I guess if you're loving it so much, we should like stick to our weekly schedule or something.
Yeah.
Not always delay. I guess, but we are both have, yeah. But I guess if everyone who's seeing this, watching this, feel free to join us in this great adventure, Deadman Wonderland and Yu Yu Hakusho, I guess.
Yeah.
And
you know, if you haven't read it, if you haven't read either of them, feel free to start. Also, like, I think what I want to do, I know, like in one of my streams, I talked about, you know, doing the Reborn discussions and start doing discussions, for, just like manga that we both have read, and maybe what we can do is once we've like what we can do sort of like a back and forth, like one Saturday, you know, or Sunday, depending on like, you know, what happens in scheduling and stuff like that. You know, we can do, you know, Deadman Wonderland, Yu Yu Hakusho, right?
Yeah, I guess now we can do it, but because I guess the arcs will be longer now, because we have like in the beginning there's always like short arcs, but I guess in both series the arcs will be longer, and we guess we need more time to read them and yeah, more time to think about it. Yeah. So I guess every second week would be great.
Yeah. So we can do like, you know, that on one Saturday we'll do that, and then the following Saturday we'll talk about a manga. You know, we'll talk about a manga that both of us have read. That way, you know, we have time to actually like read like the chapters and think about it and everything like that for like Deadman Wonderland and Yu Yu Hakusho, and other manga in the future that we do this with. You know, so you know, it'll be like a back and forth, like, you know, we'll switch. Every other Saturday. So I think for next Saturday, if you're up for, you know, doing the Reborn discussion, because I think like Reborn is a manga that a lot of people have watched. Well, Reborn is a series that a lot of people have watched, but haven't read, and also like, and because of that, a lot of people haven't talked about it. Like they haven't had like a space to really talk about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to really try to publicize that. I'm going to be like, hey, everyone, we're having a Reborn discussion, you know, come through. Because I know a lot of people that love Reborn. You know, they love the manga, they love all that stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to contact as many people as I possibly can that are on YouTube, that are on Twitter. Say, hey, we're going to be doing a Reborn discussion. Come through. You know, so I think that's going to be really good.
Okay. Yeah, I'm totally in. Reborn is one of my top 3 mangas. Like, I really, really enjoyed it, and most of my friends don't like it, but so I didn't have any possibility to have a great discussion about it, because they're more like I don't like comedy, and then the discussion was over. But you know, so I also would like to have like back and forth discussion.
Okay. All right. So basically, everyone, we're gonna have a Reborn discussion next Saturday. Okay. So if you're watching this,
Saturday,
that's
No, 27th.
27th. So Saturday the 27th, we're gonna have a Reborn discussion. Come through into the live chat, have a great time, talk with us about that. Yeah, and then the following Saturday, we'll go back to Yu Yu Hakusho and Deadman Wonderland, and then we'll then the Saturday after that we'll talk about a different manga, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Okay.
So
you can.
Thank you for the discussion. I'm always really enjoying it. I somehow also, just for everyone to know, I somehow relaunched my channel again with I was trying new style of recording and style of reviewing, I guess, and also kind of discussion, like just talking about it. So I started with well, wait, I already forgot the name. It's the new manga which started last week.
Is that the one with the first chapter?
Both Beats.
Yeah. I have to react to that. I'm gonna live react to that one.
So
probably tomorrow.
Next week is also then the next week is also again a new manga. So I will also do it, and I want to focus on Kimetsu no Yaiba. I want to bring it more in public. I think the series needs more exposure.
Definitely.
So there's also, I don't know, on Twitter, I follow him on Twitter, who's also doing Kimetsu no Yaiba, who picked up Kimetsu no Yaiba now. So I really want to have more exposure on that. And so I will just do new series and Kimetsu no Yaiba. That's my focus on reviews, on videos, and of course, discussions with as much as possible about everything.
All right, sounds good. Okay, so everyone, that was part three of the Yu Yu Hakusho Deadman Wonderland discussion with Nakamanga. This is going to be once the video is uploaded, it's going to be added to that playlist. So if you want to check out the other two parts, feel free to check those out in conjunction with part 3. All right. And again, the Reborn discussion will be on the 27th of January. That's a Saturday. Most likely it's going to be around the same time, maybe a little bit earlier. I want to say because we started like a little bit later, but it should be at, what do you think? Maybe like what works for you? Like 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Your time, 3 p.m. Yeah, 3 p.m.
Yeah. So for me, 3 p.m. Eastern time for me, 9. That's 9 for you, right? 9 p.m. Eastern. 9 p.m.
8. I guess it's 8.
8. Wait. Oh yeah. Okay. So 8 p.m. for you. Yeah. Okay. So that works.
8 or 9. Right. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. So yeah, thanks for having me, and see you next stream then.
No problem. All right, everybody. We are.